Hello everybody on the internet, it's me Dakian. It's another Monday, it's the 18th of February 2019. And in case you're wondering, I'm feeling a little bit better than last week. Not fully restored from the flu from hell, but I'm at like 90% operating capacity. Good enough for government work. And I have managed to complete a few models since last week, namely these four. So these are some Dark Sword fantasy miniatures, a couple from the Larry Elmore range, and a couple just general cheesecake models. And possibly the most interesting thing I did with these was that I used some old decals, some old transfers for their shields. And if you're perceptive, you'll notice these are 40k symbols. So the Omega here is an ultramarine symbol, this is a Blood Angel symbol, and this I believe is from some sort of chaos, it's from the Chaos Space Marine, the transfer sheet. Anyway, not sure exactly what it is. It's some sort of chaos arrows. Otherwise, you know, I just painted them the way I saw them. Not much to say really. They are so tiny. They're very petite in scale. They're true scale, mostly I think, not the usual heroic scale. And this meant I had to fudge one little detail, and that's the eyes. The eyes are not painted in the same level of detail that I usually do. They're just sort of hinted at. There's some dark painted in and some hints of the whites of the eyes, but you know, I don't think many people will look that closely at the eyes. And yeah. Anyway, some progress at least. Better than nothing.
And looking at where we are with the various Oni and Ogre mages here, I don't remember how much of this was done last week. I think a lot of the base coats I've added since last week. So you see there's some paint on a lot of the figure, like the skin mostly, and some of the metal. Now this skin color here is a very, very dark blue with a lot of green in it. It's in fact Vallejo Dark Sea Blue. And the Oni or Ogre Mage is traditionally more of a bright blue. And this is, I will highlight it up using pure blues and maybe some skin tones. So it's not going to stay this green, but I wanted that dark green sea blue as an undershade to be like the undertone of it in the deepest recesses. That was the point of it. At least that's my theory, that it's going to work well and be a nice shade color. So, well, we'll just have to see how it turns out. Tune in next week to find out if I finished these or not.
Cleaned up and based these hassle-free minis, and I decided that because this guy, he came with his own sort of scenic base in metal that he's supposed to be posed on, and that gave me the idea of picking out some old resin scenic bases and placing the others on, and with mixed results. Now, the thing with this guy is that if you look at it from above, he's off center. He's very much forward on the base. It doesn't look balanced in the composition, but this is the choice of the sculptor. I had no choice in this. It's the way it's made. I'll just have to put some bushes or flowers or something back here to try to balance it out visually. I suppose he was going for he's very much forward, coming off the base like this, and this looks dramatic, I suppose. But oh well. Now, out of these three, the one I think I succeeded the best in posing is Mr. Completely legally distinct from Conan the Barbarian here. He's very well balanced and sort of he's leaning a bit to the side, but that's part of the sculpt, and it's sort of balanced out by the axe being held out at a strong angle to the side there. So I like that. The witch hunter wound up leaning a bit forward on the base, but that's okay because she's sort of running forward. She's like he has 1 foot in the air, and clearly she's headed in this direction. So I'm okay with that. So the only one I feel I really failed at is this one. Probably looks okay like this, or like this, but if you look at it like this, she's leaning. Let's see if I can put this level with the camera. She's leaning way too much back, and I don't know, maybe I should have... The thing is, I couldn't really see this because the axe was a separate piece, and I had to sort of glue everything in place at the same time, and it was really tricky to hold it while the glue was setting. And I sort of looked at it after it had set and went, oops. I could have shortened the haft a little bit, maybe, so she'd been a bit more forward. But, you know, I'm just gonna chalk it up to experience and say that hopefully most people aren't gonna think too much about it. Yeah. It's a cool figure, though. Anyway, let's see if we can prime these up and get started on them by next week. And mail call for a lot of minis. So this is another Midland Miniatures Kickstarter that I backed. It's called, I think, Return of the Cult of the Kraken Lord. You might recognize the style of these minis. Yes, they, as the name of the Kickstarter indicates, it's a sort of a sequel to the Cult of the Kraken Lord, which I've already painted up for you, actually, on this camera. So there's 11 new cultists, and there's 11 villagers with the sort of taint, with the intimate look. You see, who are more or less those supposed to be in the way of transitioning into being cultists. So it's a grand total of 22 minis, and jeez, why did I get so many? But, you know, I was tempted to get them simply because they were a continuation of a project that I had already started. But I'm going to try to resist getting even more minis in the future. In fact, I might mention that I thought a while back that I would have to buy an order from Reaper every month this year because of the promotion with the new Bones Black minis. But after that initial owlbear, the mini for February is a troll that I'm actually already getting as part of my Bones 4 Kickstarter pledge. So I don't need to order anything from them this month. And if the preview for next month is correct, it's going to be the Grell, which is also included in the Kickstarter. So I don't need to place an extra order in March either. That's good. You know, I can keep my purchases down a little bit. But as for what's incoming, so to speak, this, before the Bones 4 Kickstarter, this is the last Kickstarter I've backed for minis that's supposed to arrive. I have 2 miniatures related Kickstarters, one for plastic shields, which I don't even remember why I got. It just struck me as a good idea at the time. And I have another one for a new airbrush. So those are, those will hopefully show up in the coming weeks. They are both a bit delayed projects, but they will. I mean, they seem to be chugging along, so I hope they'll turn up eventually. But I expect that for this segment of the video, I'm not actually going to have any new miniatures to show you until the Bones 4 shipment arrives, which is going to be a huge thing, and I don't expect that to turn up until sometime in April, because because of the timetable they've set up. It's going to be delayed compared to the original February ship date. But that's fine, because I have lots of stuff in storage that I can paint. I don't really need to buy anything more. Ever. Probably. If I'm going to be honest. But anyway. That was this week's episode. Hope you had fun watching it. Click like if you did, subscribe if you haven't done so, share it, comments, all the usual stuff. And I'll see you again in a week. Till then, this is Dakian, signing off.